Diddy is denied a new trial and an acquittal, but he's days away from finding out if he'll be released from prison. Cassie is terrified, saying she has nightmares of his fear of swift retribution. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. This Friday is the sentencing hearing. We'll finally hear what the judges decided about Diddy's fate. Will he serve more time? Will he be released? He was granted permission to wear nice clothes, but everything else he asked for, new trials, acquittals, it has all been denied. Judge Submarinian declared his filing on Tuesday that the court was not persuaded by the arguments. Here it is. He was not persuaded by the arguments made for either potential outcome in his case. Combs' counsel argued that his recordings of the acts were with the performers were technically amateur videography for adults, which they said is protected under the First Amendment. They also claimed that he deserved a new trial because his RICO and other counts should not have been joined together with his Mann Act counts, which they say prejudiced the jury against him on the later charges. In his ruling, Submarinian stated that Combs failed to carry this heavy burden. It's a long, I don't know exactly where this part on it. Yeah, there it is. He failed to carry this heavy burden and showing of spillover prejudiced the jury as he was found not guilty of the more serious charges. The government proved its case many times over. That by itself might be enough to dispose of Combs' challenge. Had the prejudice indeed been so great, one would expect a jury to convict on the most relevant counts before it could spill over and affect others. A new trial is not warranted. Thank goodness the judge did see it that way. It's a long form, so I can't read it for you all, but that was his ruling. Last week, it was 164 pages. Wow. Yeah. Recommended, prosecutors filed a 164-page memorandum recommending no less than 11 years of imprisonment. That's what they're coming after for Diddy. 11 years. But they're claiming that he is unrepentant and that the punishment for his crimes of conviction must take into account the manner in which he committed them. The government previously suggested that he serve a sentence of 4 to 5 years, but now they're saying 11 years. Combs' attorneys argued that he should serve no more than 14 months in prison, which is pretty much the time he's already spent, claiming that he's been punished enough. Along with the filing, Combs' former girlfriend, Young Miami, and producer Dallas Austin submitted letters of support, as did inmates who had taken Combs' free game course. That's right, he's been offering business courses in prison. But here's the other relevant story here I want to share with you. Cassie is terrified. She's saying she's had nightmares about him, and she's now left New York City in fear of the swift retribution that he may bring her way. She did write a letter to the judge here. She asked the New York federal judge to consider that the many lives that Sean Combs has upended with his behavior and control as he decides the sentencing soon. The singer, who was in a relationship for about a decade and signed to his label, was the government's star witness for this case. She was one of 7 people whose letters were part of legal filing prosecutors submitted to court this week on Tuesday. They asked the judge to sentence Combs to at least 11 years and 3 months. You can pause and read this. It's long, but if you want to see some of her reasons, I want to make sure I scrolled over it. For over a decade has made me feel powerless and unimportant, but my experience was real, horrific, and deserves to be considered. While the jury did not seem to understand or believe that I engaged in freak-offs because of the force and coercion the defendant used against me, I know that is the truth, and his sentence should reflect the reality of the evidence and my lived experience as a victim. Reliving in detail the events and truths described throughout the trial, and this letter caused me tremendous emotional pain. I am trying with all that I am to move on. I hope that your sentencing decision reflects the strength it took for victims of Sean Combs to come forward. I hope your decision considers the many lives that he has upended with his behavior and control. Thank you for your time and attention. Yeah, and she does detail the nightmares, flashbacks she has on a regular, everyday basis and continues to require psychological care to cope with her past. She's worried that Sean or his associates will come after me and my family and is my reality. I have, in fact, moved my family out of New York area. I'm keeping as private and quiet as possible because I'm so scared that if he walks free, his first actions will be swift retribution towards me and others who spoke up about his actions at trial. As much progress as I've made in recovering from him, I remain very much afraid of what he is capable of and the malice he undoubtedly harbors towards me for having the bravery to tell my truth. one more. His defense say he's a changed man and he wants to mentor people. I know firsthand what real mentorship means, and this disgusts me. He is not being truthful. I know that who he was to me, the manipulator, the aggressor, the abuser, the trafficker. He is who he is as a human. He has no interest in changing or becoming better. He will always be the same cruel, power-hungry, manipulative man that he is. When I came out with my allegation in my civil case, he flatly denied them again and again. It was only after video evidence corresponded the exact words in my civil complaint that he issued an insincere apology on the internet. Thanks to my footage and my testimony, this is also something he will forever be associated with. It's true. She makes a very passionate and correct argument. So we'll see what happens there. So this is planned for Friday, October 3rd is when the sentencing here is. You know, we'll be live covering this for you. So make sure if you haven't already hit the subscribe and the bell and all that stuff so you can make sure you're notified. But we will be covering this for you guys on the 3rd. We don't know the start time yet, but it's probably around 10 a.m. So get ready. We'll be here in the morning, hopefully covering this. And I want you guys to be here. Prosecutors alleged Combs trafficked Ventura and other former girlfriends who testified under the pseudonym Jane, coerced them with the freak-offs, as you know. They file the filing also includes letters from her parents. I don't have that. There is a sentencing on October 3rd. Is that what this? Yes. Yes, is the schedule for the date. So October 3rd. Sorry, I thought I had something else there. But in her letter, one of the Janes, in her letter, the singer claimed that Combs used violence, threats, substances, and control over her career to trap her in over a decade, groomed her into performing in multi-day freak-offs, which occurred nearly weekly. These events were degrading, disgusting, leaving me with infections, illness, and days of physical and emotional exhaustion before he demanded it all again. Acts became my full-time job, used as only a way to stay in his good graces. I guess, oh, sorry, this is from Ventura. That was part of the other letter. Sorry, that was the other P. I thought I had my outline notes incorrect. There you go. But we've read the letter. It's horrifying what Cassie's been through. I don't believe he should have been not guilty of the charges. I think the feds did prove it. We went through the checklists. They did. RICO includes a lot of the things that the jury sort of just seemingly ignored, substances, etc. There were enough instances of the Mann Act alone, the substances, those two alone should have deemed the RICO charge. So it's frustrating the jury didn't see it the way, but now that they did, it's also kind of strange that he's getting put away for as long for just that charge. His argument about tapes, while I don't really believe it, it's a good argument. It's a good argument. And he shouldn't be thrown away for the rest of his life for transporting willing participants in these, things. The abuse towards Cassie, awful. But the people he was transporting wanted to be there. They were paid. They came back again. They weren't the ones who were as worried. It was Cassie. And that's where I think this is all getting very confusing. So could he walk? Could he get the full 11 years? It seems this judge is ready to throw the whole book at him. So we will cover that Friday. We'll be here again. Like I said, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit the bell for all alerts. What do you guys think is going to happen on Friday? How long do you want him to serve? I'd love for him to be behind bars. I think he does deserve it. I think the man's a monster. The tape alone and the behavior alone. But what will happen on Friday? We will keep you posted.